Years of experience in working with people who are prone to falls has given St. Barnabas special expertise in this area. Call them at 724-443-0700 and learn about ways that you can begin to feel more confident and safe, including suggestions that you can implement right now into your daily routine. Call St. Barnabas at 724-443-0700. For many years now, St. Barnabas has been helping people fall, in love that is, with their new, better life. A longer life, a risk-free life. Call St. Barnabas now at 724-443-0700 or visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com and learn more about living longer and better.
When accidents and injuries happen, you need the experience and insight of the legal team at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George. Since 1934, they've been committed to the physical and financial recovery of personal injury victims. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, a law firm of AV-rated attorneys and super lawyers. Attorney Larry Kelly.
That we establish relationships with our clients, because I still believe that relationships still matter. That this isn't strictly business between me and the client, that there's a relationship that develops. And there's nothing more important, I think, in any attorney-client situation than the client believing that the attorney actually cares about them personally.
For your initial consultation, call the law firm of Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George at 724-658-8535 or online at lgkg.com. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, keeping promises for over 80 years.
Spring is in the air, so put some spring in your step and head out to Al's Corner in Koppel. Whether you're looking for a quick lunch or dinner or even your favorite snack, Al's Corner is the place to go. Al's also has lunch and dinner specials Monday through Friday, like tacos on Tuesdays and their world-famous beef tips over noodles on Thursdays. Al's Corner is open 7 days a week from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. The outside grill will be opening in May, and follow Al's on Facebook for news about opening day of the grill plus all their other specials. Al's Corner is located at the corner of Route 18 and 351 in Koppel.
It's always the right time to shop the Hopewell Shopping Center, no matter what the season, no matter what the reason. It truly is your neighborhood shopping place. With such a large variety of businesses that offer food, shopping, fine dining, and quick-serve restaurants, personal services, and recreation, the Hopewell Shopping Center will be your one stop for everything you need whenever you need it. Just click on BeaverCountyRadio.com, the Hopewell Shopping Center directory, for a complete look of merchants today and get shopping at your neighborhood shopping place, the Hopewell Shopping Center.
St. Barnabas thanks you for listening to Beaver County Radio.
You're listening to 95.7 FM, 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls and 1460 WMBA Ambridge.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Another weekend that saw deadly shootings in a number of U.S. cities, including Chattanooga, Tennessee. Police getting a call of gunfire outside a nightclub early yesterday.
Once on the scene, they encountered multiple victims and began rendering aid, as well as working to secure the scene.
Chattanooga Police Chief Celeste Murphy telling WTVC that 3 people were killed, 2 of the dead were shot. The other died after being run over while trying to flee the scene. 3 people shot to death when gunfire erupted over the weekend in Philadelphia's popular South Street Entertainment District. 11 others were wounded, and 2 people killed in shootings in Mesa, Arizona. The Supreme Court is set to decide a key gun case at issue a New York state law that limits who can carry a concealed handgun in public. It's one of 33 cases to be decided before the High Court breaks for the summer in about a month. Another high-profile case could see the court overturn Roe v. Wade. Boris Johnson's days as Prime Minister of Britain could be numbered, with the governing Conservatives set to hold a no-confidence vote later today.
The vote comes after months of growing discontent with a divisive politician whose career has survived multiple ups and downs. If Johnson loses the vote among the 359 Conservative lawmakers, the party will choose a new leader, who will also become Prime Minister. If Johnson wins, he can't face another challenge for a year under current party rules. Charles de Ledesma, London.
Another day, another record for gas prices. AAA's national average for a gallon of regular is now $4.86, and gas prices have doubled since Joe Biden took office. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is up 301 points, the NASDAQ Composite Index ahead 198, and the S&P trading 53 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Where are your family's old film reels, videotapes, and photos? Are they sitting in dusty shoeboxes and neglected bins at risk of completely fading away? Digitizing your aging media with Legacy Box is the safe and easy way to preserve and pass down your family's legacy. Simply send your Legacy Box kit filled with old home movies and pictures. Legacy Box does the rest, converting your moments to DVD or digital. Legacy Box has been trusted by over 1 million families and has over 10,000 five-star reviews. Be your family's hero. Unlock the memories trapped on VHS, camcorder tapes, and 8mm reels. Experience the joy and excitement of rewatching your wedding day, baby's first steps, and Christmas mornings. Feel relief knowing all those cherished moments are safe from fires and water damage. The Legacy Box Father's Day event is happening now. Go to legacybox.com/lbox to save 50%. Legacy Box is great for your family or as a gift for dad. That's legacybox.com/lbox for 50% off. legacybox.com/lbox.
The Biden climate envoy, John Kerry, warns against using the Ukraine war as an excuse to rely more heavily on fossil fuels, specifically coal. A climate conference getting underway in Germany.
There is a note of exasperation in Mr. Kerry's voice when he says a number of countries are not fulfilling the promises they've made on climate. He's been a tireless cheerleader for tackling climate change over the last year and a half, but as hundreds of climate diplomats meet in Bonn for a UN conference, he warns the world is cooked if Ukraine is used as an excuse to continue to open new coal mines and build new coal-fired power plants.
The BBC's Justin Rolat. India, the target of diplomatic outrage from Muslim countries after top officials in the governing Hindu Nationalist Party made derogatory remarks about Islam and Mohammed. News and analysis. Townhall.com. There's a growing unionization movement brewing at Starbucks.
Employees at a New Orleans store voted 11-1 to join the Workers United, which represents unionized Starbucks locations, becoming the first store in the state to organize. Only 2 votes cast over Friday and Saturday were challenged. Workers say they wanted to unionize because of regular shifts where they were overworked and understaffed. In a statement, Starbucks says it's listening and learning, adding that we respect our partners' right to organize, but they did not say whether the company would challenge the vote. Rhonda Rockster reporting.
Following a 5-week journey, a crewless robotic boat that tried to retrace the 1620 sea voyage of the Mayflower has finally reached the shores of North America, this time in Canada, instead of the Massachusetts coast, where its namesake landed more than 400 years ago. The sleek vessel docked in Halifax, Nova Scotia, yesterday.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning. As today's forecast is calling for a sunny day today. High's going to be up to 86 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast coming up for you right after we have this look at news. Beaver County Radio staff member Keith Walsh is reporting that a shooting took place early Saturday afternoon on 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. The shooting occurred in front of the Hovis Auto Parts. Walsh said that you could see officers taking a man into custody. There was also a white Chevy SUV that was involved. You could see evidence markers showing the shell casings on the ground around that SUV. Officers on the scene told Walsh that no information would be released until an investigation was completed. It's not clear exactly what happened, as witnesses told Walsh that there were 3 other men that were involved who ran off. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano is working on getting us an update on that, and we'll get that for you as soon as we can. One person was taken to an area hospital early this morning after a short police pursuit ended with the person crashing near the intersection of Ferry and Montour Streets in Coraopolis. The situation began as a domestic incident, and the person was leaving the scene, which led to the pursuit. There is no word on the person's condition at this time. The Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania is recovering from a stroke and now says he almost died from it after ignoring warning signs for years and a doctor's advice to take blood thinners. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman spoke in a statement released by his campaign on Friday. He has remained out of the public view as he recovers ahead of the fall general election, in which it is expected to be one of the nation's premier Senate contests. Fetterman's cardiologist also disclosed that he has cardiomyopathy. Fetterman easily won the Democratic nomination in a 4-way race while in the hospital 4 days after he had a stroke. Pennsylvania State Police in Beaver reporting that they responded to a call in the area of Park Road and US 30 in Hanover Township, Beaver County, on Saturday at 4:45 p.m. for a report of a motor vehicle accident. Troopers said via release upon arriving it was determined that the incident was a hit-and-run crash. Police are reporting that a vehicle, possibly a green SUV or pickup truck, struck the female victim's vehicle at the 9 o'clock position of her vehicle after crossing the crossing lane designators. Troopers said the hit-and-run vehicle left the scene and is missing a tire and rim on the driver's side of the vehicle. The unnamed female victim received serious non-life-threatening injuries. State police are asking anyone with information about the green SUV or truck with front driver's side damage that is also missing a wheel to contact them at 724-773-7400. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano is reporting that Aliquippa City Council met last Wednesday night and authorized Solicitor Myron Sanovich to revise the city's rental registration program and include a date to be submitted and a revision of the current ordinance that would require a tenant's update on registration and an option of having a rental inspection of the property. Council discussed the local ramps project, which is the East End Gateway coming to and from Route 51. 6 repository property purchases approved by Code and Zoning Officer Jim Bologna were also approved by Council. Pennsylvania State Police in Beaver reporting that they conducted a traffic stop on a 2006 Toyota Camry being driven by 24-year-old Christopher Williams Jr. of Emporia, Virginia, in the area of 6th Avenue and 16th Street in Beaver Falls on Monday, May the 30th at 10:58 p.m. Troopers said that during the traffic stop, Williams was found to be in possession of 4 ounces of marijuana. He was placed under arrest and taken into custody for possession with intent to deliver. The release said the charges are pending through District Court 360304. And Pennsylvania State Police are also reporting that they were conducting a traffic stop on a 2007 Jeep being driven by 60-year-old Mark Chambers of Aliquippa in the area of Upland and Sharon Streets at 8:15 p.m. on Saturday. Troopers said that they stopped Chambers for a traffic violation. During the traffic stop, it was learned that his license was suspended for DUI-related infractions. Chambers' BAC during the traffic stop was found to be 0.02%. He was taken into custody under suspicion of DUI. Charges are currently pending through District Court 360304.
Here's the Beaver County forecast on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Mostly sunny skies throughout the day today. High's going to be up to 86 degrees. Overnight tonight, a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low of 63. Showers and possibly a thunderstorm tomorrow with a high of 76. On Wednesday, a chance of showers and thunderstorms and a high of 80. Thursday, mostly sunny, high 76. And Friday, a chance of afternoon showers with a high of 78 degrees. That is a look at the news for now. I'm Frank Sparks, Beaver County Radio News, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and beavercountyradio.com.
Your community, your radio stations, originating from the St. Barnabas Control Studio in Beaver County, 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls and 1460 WMBA Ambridge.
1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA, like he just said. 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM. In the studio with me at the show's telephone, my name's Eddie Crow. Don't care. What I care about, something going on. I told you briefly about it. This Thursday at 6 o'clock, there is an event that this Thursday, June 9th, and I have people in the studio that are going to explain it way better than I can. Liam Waters, you're with Voices PA. Did I get that right?
Yeah, Voices PAC.
Voices PAC.
Yes.
All right. And Maria Smalley, you're the president of the Beaver County Young Democrats.
Yes, I am.
First things first, Liam, what is the event Thursday?
Yeah, so this Thursday we'll be on the steps of the county courthouse as part of the National March for Our Lives movement. And essentially we're demanding action from our legislators about making reasonable and popular gun reforms so that we stop tuning into the news and watching children and family members dying across the country.
Is there such a thing, do you think, that can be reached as reasonable, logical? Isn't that kind of the sticking point? I am very impressed that you're putting this together. How frustrating can it be that you look at something, and this is true of life, you look at something and you think this is perfectly logical, and then somebody says to them it's not perfectly logical. How do we get past that? Events like this?
I think that's a big part of it, Eddie. Yeah, we We definitely think that most people agree on basic steps. Over 80% of gun owners across the country, according to a recent Harvard poll, all agree that we need to expand background checks. Over 70% of Americans agree in extreme risk protection orders. And so I think those are two big areas where we can make a difference pretty quickly. There's broad support for that. But there are other areas where we agree a lot too. And I think that having these conversations and talking to voters and each other, this isn't a partisan issue. This isn't about Democrats and Republicans. This is about, we don't want to see any more gun deaths. And I think that as human beings, we can all agree on that.
All right, Maria, I want to ask you, while we're talking about the non-politics of it, you're the president of Beaver County Young Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe on the street it is a bipartisan issue and it just runs into the partisanship when you get involved in politics?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at just regular voters, by far and wide, we do support having, universal background checks. There are lots of small steps we can take that are not going to infringe on people's rights, but are going to make our society a little bit safer.
How do you convince people of that? Because I am one of those people. Hey, Second Amendment, be quiet. That's and we've had that trained, cooked into our brain for that to be the response. How do you get people, not politically, but just to listen, like Liam said, to the common sense? How do you do that?
It's about having the hard conversations, and a lot of those hard conversations, really, they have to actually be peer-to-peer. I do a lot of work in the county, and I knock doors, but it means a lot more to somebody when, say, their niece or their nephew or their godchild, their child, their grandchild, when they go to them and say, hey, listen, I just want to have this conversation. What is so wrong about someone needing to pass a background check in order to walk out of this Dick's Sporting Good with an AR-15 today? It means a lot more than when people who, like me, a politician or a political person, come into your community and try to go hey, let's do this.
Liam Waters and Maria Smalley are my guests. It's Teleform on Beaver County Radio. Who is doing some of the speaking? Liam, I saw that you've got public speakers and you've got elected officials and local activists. Do you have the final list or some of the names for Thursday?
Yeah, the list isn't completely finalized, but I know that I will be speaking, and we're expecting to hear from Bruce Carper, who's running for state representative in the 14th District, and Chris DeLuzio, who's running to represent us in Congress, as well as other local activists and elected officials. So it'll definitely be some big names that on Thursday night.
All right, good. Have you written your speech? You got an opening joke? How you going with it?
I don't have an opening joke, no,
okay.
But
it's a somber occasion, maybe no opening joke, but do you know what you're going to say?
Yeah, for me, it's all about the call to action. And this march on Thursday, we Marie and I actually recently got to meet with David Hogg, who's one of the original founding organizers of the March for Our Lives movement.
Right.
And something that he told us that really resonated is that, this can't be the last step. Marching on the courthouse, and on Saturday they'll be marching on the National Mall and across the country as well. We can't be stopping there. We have to keep going forward, talk to our legislators, register people to vote, and really do all of the hard steps that it takes to produce political change. And it's really an organize everywhere sort of thing, like Maria was talking. Talk to your family members, talk to those around you. And I think that we will find, in my experience in talking to people, I found that we really do agree on a lot more than it seems like from the media. And so I think that, the event is about getting the message out there in the first place, but then establishing next steps and talking more.
Maria, how did you get involved in this?
No,
not in politics, dear Lord. I wouldn't ask you something.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with this cause, with the March for Life?
This specific cause means a lot to me because, I have 3 children and 2 of them attend public school. And there's been a lot of mornings where I've put them on the school bus and had to think, is today the day? Will today be the day that I'm that parent in the country who gets that call that I need to get to the school because something is happening? Or don't even come to the school because we're not going to let you in.
How is your perspective different than mine? Because you're both probably less than half my age. Have you both grown up with school shootings as just part of your life?
So I graduated in 2010, and I remember, like, we knew that school shootings happened, but it was nothing like it was today. You figure this was 2 years before Sandy Hook ever happened. It was not something I carried with me to school every single day.
It wasn't a stepping on the bus. Oh, okay, be careful.
Right. That was not something that I had to think about.
I've got to say, I had a very different experience in just a few short years. I was pretty young and not even very politically conscious when Sandy Hook happened. And moving on from there, when the Parkland, Florida shooting happened, that's really when I jumped into this movement. And I was part of a movement in Hopewell, registering close to 100 voters at Hopewell High School, and I attended the first March for Our Lives over 4 years ago in Washington, D.C. And so this is a movement that's really close to me because not only was I a student at when the movement was really taking root, but my mom is a public school educator, and she goes to work every day, and I worry, and my sister goes to a public school, and I worry. And frankly, we all go to our grocery stores and our offices, and sometimes it just really does feel like you aren't necessarily safe anywhere. And so for me, I've done all of the trainings and all of the things that come with growing up in the school shooting generation, and it's something that you think about everywhere you are.
That's absolutely mind-boggling to me, that you went through active shooter training because you attended public school. Is it going to be my generation that catches on with help from your generation, or is it going to be your generation that says, all right, get out of the way, we'll deal with this?
Well, I hope that it's your generation catching on, but when push comes to shove, I think that we've got this under control.
You're going to it's going to be dealt with in some logical form.
Sooner than later.
Okay. Explain the logical form. We were talking off the air, and Maria said, now the specifics as far as legislation, that's the stuff that and you mentioned background checks, red flag laws, things like that. How do you convince somebody that doesn't see that as common sense, that it's in fact to you, it's common sense? You're not going to say, I'm right, you're wrong, but how do you do that?
Right. I think it's really about those conversations and just seeing each other as a person, and just having a simple conversation really goes a long way. You don't really have to argue with somebody to change their mind. Sometimes just having a peer talk to you is enough. But I think that, most Americans, like I said, do agree on expanding background checks. 83% of gun owners in the United States, according to a recent Harvard poll, like I mentioned, all agree that we should expand background checks. And, there's currently legislation in Washington and in the Pennsylvania State House to expand background checks, to close gun show loopholes so that private sales also require a background check, to really make sure that people who are purchasing guns are good people who aren't going to hurt us with those guns later on.
All right, Maria, I'm going to throw a hackneyed old phrase at you, and I want you to shout me down. Are you ready? If guns are illegal, only bad people will have guns.
That is not true.
Okay. Well, you didn't shout. That was the politest shouting down ever.
No, I'm a very sweet mother. I do not shout at people.
All right.
First of all, though, I think a very important part is nobody is trying to take all the guns away.
It's not possible.
Yeah, first off, in a logistical stance, that's not possible. We have more guns in America than people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very ingrained in our culture.
Sure.
We could never just ban them all. And the bad guys, yes, they can still get guns, but the less we have on the market that somebody can just walk into a store and purchase, the higher those prices on that black market are going to go. I would rather an 18-year-old need to find $5,000 to buy a weapon than $1,000.
Somebody's saying price it out?
In a way,
yeah.
Not that that's not a perfect and that's not a solution,
right.
But that is something that would happen if we had less available in general, in the general pool of guns in America.
In terms of background checks, should there be a doctor's note? Because I've preached for years, if you have to have a doctor's note and you have to have a physical to get some types of driver's license. What are your thoughts on that? You get a note from your doctor that says, yes, I would trust this person with a firearm. Does that fall under logical, or is that when people start to push back?
I think maybe a lot of people will push back there, but
because it's medical stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, and we have a lot of medical rights in this country too, and so that is another thing to contend with. And I don't pretend to be an expert in the medical arena, but I do know that that's commonplace in countries like Japan, where you have to go and have some sort of medical clearance before purchasing a firearm.
You have to get a physical to get your driver's license.
Yeah, and you got to take a test to get your driver's license.
Yes.
And if your age, did you have to take a driving test, or could you get out of it by taking a driver's ed class?
I had to take the driver's test.
You did have to
Yes.
demonstrate proficiency.
Yes.
So,
I had to take the test 3 times.
3 times?
Same here.
Well, yeah.
Okay, what was the problem?
I was trying to parallel park a minivan.
No, you don't
We
take a
didn't have a lot
minivan.
of options.
Why, you don't take a minivan for the parallel parking? You borrow somebody's go-kart. What was your problem there, Liam?
It was
3
the
times?
parallel parking
Was it?
in a much smaller car.
To be fair, I lived in Doherty Township my whole life. I didn't have to parallel park anywhere.
That's
I
it.
pulled into my parents' yard.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was prejudiced against rural, wasn't it? No, nobody in Doherty Township. That's what I'm going to take away from this discussion. That you're both doing wonderful work, and nobody in Doherty Township knows how to parallel park. Liam, what should I have asked you that I didn't ask you? The event's Thursday. It's at 6 and it goes till 9, and it's at the courthouse, correct?
It's at the county courthouse on June 9th, this Thursday. Yeah, I think that's the gist of the event. But yeah, I mean, there will be more policy discussions. There will be organizing calls. So definitely, and a candlelight vigil to remember those we've lost to gun violence.
We're going to have a lot of local activists on hand and volunteers to be able to answer any questions for anybody who wants to get more involved, who wants to know more about the policy we would discuss. We're going to have a couple kids. I'm putting that together this week, but we have a few kids who are going to come up, and they're going to talk about what it's like to be like elementary, middle, and I believe a high school student right now today going to school.
Yeah, that's why I ask you, because your school experience was utterly foreign in my mind, what you had to deal with and what you had to think about that I just never thought about. Does it ebb and flow, people being interested in this cause? Does it take something tragic to have people notice?
Yes.
Yeah.
It happens. Sometimes the march itself seems very glamorous, but the work that has to be put in after the march isn't always quite as glamorous.
I think with any issue, there's an ebb and flow, right? And
Okay.
and a lot of times, people as onlookers, we take things very seriously, based off of our own perspective. And so I think the country looked on in horror at Uvalde, Texas, because those are school children. They're the most innocent among us. They are children, and that is really emotional for all of us. But I think too, we also, here in Pittsburgh, just 4 years ago, there was a shooting at the Tree of Life Synagogue, and as Pittsburghers, I think we all were really, really impacted by that. It hit close to home, and it was a personal tragedy. And so I think that, depending on how individuals are affected, they will care differently. I know that I've personally not let up in the last 4 years on this issue, and there are people like me, but the general public definitely has their ebb and flow.
That's also human nature. It's hard to stay focused when you're thinking about 17 slaughtered school children.
It's hard to put yourself through that. You actively say, okay, I can't think about this anymore because it's so emotionally exhausting.
In the last week and a half or so that we've been putting together this rally, there's definitely been days where I have to say to myself, no, that's it. The phone's down, the computer's down. I'm going to go play a video game. I'm going to go cuddle my baby who's 9 months old.
Okay.
I cannot think about this any longer. Yep. And I do understand what people are saying when they come to me with that. Well, I just can't focus. I can't think about that. It's just too much. It is too much. It should be too much.
How frustrating it is it when you see people say we need to do everything in the world except address some of the types of guns. We need to arm teachers. We need to make sure that there's only one door in and out. We need, it's mental health. How frustrating is that for you? Because you know the stats.
Yeah, I mean, the one door conversation is truly just garbage, and it's shocking to me that that's become a prevalent opinion in some circles.
It's victim blaming.
It's victim blaming, and it's
garbage. Liam, learn this. Garbage can sell.
That's true. I guess we're seeing that with the one door theory. Anyone who's ever done a fire drill should know better.
Yeah.
But I think too, the statistics are clear. Is the moment that the assault weapons ban expired,
2004.
Yes, and gun death increased almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And the good guy with the gun argument is all well and good, but the truth of the matter is that we shouldn't expect people to be the saviors of their communities. We should expect to be safe without needing a teacher to shoot what is likely one of their former students. And
I'm like you. I came from a family of teachers and a family of medical people, and teachers are brilliant, but that's not their job.
Exactly. And teachers have been the most transformational people in my life. Like I said, my mother is an educator.
Yep.
And I really care deeply about a lot of the teachers who have helped me through the education system. And I don't want any of them to have to make that decision. And that means that we should intervene before it gets to the point where a good guy has to pull a trigger. And that's not anyone's responsibility. And also, a lot of times we see good guys with guns and they don't step in like they're supposed to. The police in Uvalde, Texas, the police in Parkland, Florida. And some good guys with guns can also die. And we can't just expect the world of them. And so we need to intervene. We can't be reactionary. We have to be proactive in our policymaking.
Liam, Maria, you've both been wonderful. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep staying engaged, okay?
Absolutely.
And let me know. The event is Thursday?
Thursday, June 9th at 6 p.m. on the Beaver County Courthouse steps.
All right, I want to know how it goes. I may even show up if I'm out loitering.
Last month, I talked to you about two of my favorite things that go together, liver and onions. Can't you just smell the onions sizzling on the griddle? This is Andy Dangle from Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right. I'm here to talk to you about another two-of-a-kind pair that I really like. Vehicles and vacations. You can't go on vacation without a good car, and you can't buy a good car without a great loan. See what I mean? One visit to Freedom United Federal Credit Union can get you heading down the road, or perhaps in the water, or the woods with, are you ready for some more alliteration? A cruise, a camper, or quad. Put a little sizzle in your life this year, and that starts with, get ready, here comes a doozy. A transportation, vacation, or recreation loan. Now there's three things I like together. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
In Beaver County, there are many great stories to tell. One such worthy story is that of the Drug-Free Community Support Program. Now in its fourth year of serving Aliquippa, the project has enjoyed great success through in-school interaction, education, raising awareness, and data analysis. The Drug-Free Community Support Program in Aliquippa has a mission to help local youth make better decisions regarding alcohol and drug use. For more information or to find out how you can get involved, visit Drug Free Aliquippa on Facebook.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Frank Sparks.
And good morning. As today's forecast is calling for sunny skies today. High's going to be up to 86 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast coming up for you right after we have this look at news. Beaver County Radio staff member Keith Walsh is reporting that a shooting took place early Saturday afternoon on 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. The shooting